Okay guys, today we're going to make our change to start talking about multiplying fractions. So I'm going to begin with your organizer, and I'm going to begin by taking the center and start to fill it in. So today, all about multiplying fractions, all kinds of them. Proper fractions, improper fractions, mixed numbers, whole numbers. You're going to have a strategy for all of it by the time we're done today. Okay, so I'm going to go to my first piece, and I'm going to start with some big ideas. So you have kind of an idea of what's going on and what you need to pay attention to. So first of all, in order to do these problems, everything has to be a fraction. So if it's not a fraction, if it's a mixed number, if it's a whole number, you're going to have to put it in fraction form. Once everything is fraction form, we're going to multiply the top numbers in both fractions across. And we're going to multiply the bottom numbers across. Now, the last step is kind of the last step no matter what operation we're looking at. You're always going to reduce, if you can, and you're always going to change to a mixed number if you can. Now, you may not be able to, and that's fine, but I want to make sure that you're checking those last two. So that means, at least with this piece, that we're still going to have to be using Desmos and checking our fractions to see if it can reduce every time. Okay, we're going to start working our way around. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to use every one of the boxes on this one because you have several examples, some that are not very long, but I want to make sure that you have several to look at. So the first one that we're going to do is 5 over 7 times 2 over 3. So first of all, on this piece, you can tell that they are completely fractions. So I can go ahead and just multiply across. So 5 times 2 is 10. And 7 times 3 is 21. Now, we said every time we have to commit to checking our fractions to see if they'll reduce. So we're going to put this in Desmos. So 10 over 21. And if it comes out with the same fraction, remember, that means that you can't reduce. So it's going to be 10 over 21. So that's my final answer. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Remember, if you need to, as we're going through, feel free to hit pause so that you can get stuff written down, and that's completely okay. So the next one, 6 over 11 times 5 over 12. So the good news for us is it's completely written as a fraction. So I can go ahead and multiply across. So 6 times 5 is going to be 30. 11 times 12 is 132. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that in Desmos to see if it reduces. So 30 over 132. And that reduces to 5 over 22. And that's going to be your final answer. Remember, you are reducing, though, because the big problem is going to be what happens if you don't reduce and you have this answer, you're never going to be able to find the true answer to the problem. So you got to make sure you do that. Okay, let's go to C. So for C, it's 8 over 10 times 10 over 12. Now, good news again, both are set up and they're completely in fraction form. So we're going to start by multiplying across. So 8 times 10 is 80. 10 times 12 is 120. So we're going to go through and put that into decimals to see if we can reduce. So 80 over 120. And that reduces down to 2 over 3. Okay, we've got one more on the front we're going to look at, and then we're going to move to the back. So here's D. So D is 9 over 10 plus 1 over 4. So again, we're in complete fraction form. So we can go ahead and multiply across. So 9 times 1 is 9. And 10 times 4 is 40. Now, I could put that in decimals, but that's one that's not going to reduce at all. Okay, I hope you're getting the hang of being able to go to decimals every time to make sure you're on the right track. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over. We're going to go to the back and start to get stuff. A couple more that are just really fractions. One more that's just fractions, and then we're going to work our way into mixed numbers. So here's our next one. 2 over 4 times 3 over 6. So because they're both fractions, I'm going to multiply across. So 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 6 is 24. And now I'm going to go through and put this into decimals. So 6 over 24 reduces down to 1 over 4. Again, make sure once we're done with this, you're going over your notes and making sure you indeed know how to do these on your own and you're putting it in decimals and you're practicing. Because when it comes to time for a test or a quiz and you haven't done that, you're not going to have that memory of how to be able to go through and the process kind of down pat in your head. Okay, here is F. 3 and 2 over 8 times 9 over 10. So a couple things. 9 over 10 is good. It's already set up as a fraction, so we're golden there. But this, we're going to have to change it into an improper fraction. So you'll notice I put my multiplication sign in there. Hang on, I'm just trying to get the picture. There we go. I put my multiplication sign there and my add there. So 8 times 3 is 24. Plus the 2 on top is going to be 26. So 26 over 8. And then since the other one is just a fraction, I'm going to bring it down just the way it is. And now we're going to start to multiply across. So 26 times 9 is 234. 8 times 10 is 80. So I have 234 over 80. So now I'm going to reduce. So 234 over 80 reduces down to 117 over 40. Now here's the good news. The good news in this one is that I can take it from this and reduce it. Kind of the bad news is the top number is bigger than the bottom. So that means it's got to be a mixed number. So 40 goes into 117 twice without going over, which is 80. So that leaves you 37 left over. So if we use a check mark method, it's going to be 2 and 37 over 40. Now here's the good news. If you check to see if it's reduced up here and use Desmos, there's never going to be more reducing that has to happen here. That's why it's so important to do that. Because if you check it here, you want to be able to divide with the smallest numbers you have and not have to worry about reducing at the end if you need to. Okay, let's go to G. So 1 and 4 over 12 times 12 or times 2 over 12. So again, this first one is going to have to become an improper fraction. So 12 times 2 is 12, plus 4 is 16. So 16 over 12. The second one is already a fraction, so I'm just going to bring that down. Because they're both fractions now, I can go ahead and multiply across. So 16 times 2 is 32. 12 times 12 is 144. So now we're going to take this and put it into Desmos. Oops, Desmos went away. So 32 over 144 reduces down to 2 over 9. Now the good news is because the top number is smaller than the bottom, it's a proper fraction. So once I'm able to say that this is 2/9, there's not going to be anything left to do. Okay, we have 2 more left. We're going to go completely just to mixed number 4. So here are my 2 mixed numbers. 1 and 1/4 times 3 and 1/2. So both of these, because they're mixed numbers, I'm going to have to change them to improper. So on the first one, 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 1 on top would be 5. So 5 over 4. For the second one, 3 and 2, if I multiply them together, are going to be 6. Plus the 1 on top is going to be 7. So 7 over 2. So once I have them in this form, I can go ahead and multiply across. So 5 times 7 is 35. 4 times 2 is going to be 8. Now, I could put that in Desmos, but it's not going to reduce. But I can tell the top number is bigger than the bottom. So I'm going to have to do my dividing. So the most that 8 will go into 32 is, or into 35 is 4 times, which is 32, and I have 3 left over. So it's going to be 4 and 3/8. Okay, last one. 3 and 1/3 times 1 and 4/10. So I'm going to go ahead and do my multiplying and adding to make these into both just fractions. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So 10 over 3. In the second one, going to follow the same process. 10 times 1 is 10, plus 4 is going to be 14. So 14 over 10. So before I can do anything else, I've got everything changed into the fraction form that I need. So now I can multiply across. So 10 times 14 is 140. 3 times 10 is 30. So we're going to take this to Desmos. So 140 over 30 reduces down to 14 over 3. Good news, it reduced. The other news is top number's bigger than the bottom, so we're going to have to divide it out. Okay, hang on. I'm just trying to get it off. There we go. So this is 14 over 3. So 3 goes into 14 4 times, which is 12. And there's 2 left over. So it's 4 2/3. Okay, we're going to practice some more of these when we are back together.